Right, I'll attempt to do a quick experience report on Tramadol. Yay! Yay! Sorry, I enjoyed doing that. Oh, fucking lost my train of thought because I was acting like a moron there. Tramadol. I don't like. I had a lot actually. Why the fuck's my memory so hazy? Wake me up a bit. There we go. Alright, so yeah, I've had Tramadol quite a few occasions. Had like maybe one what would be described as heavy experience on it, and the rest are kind of just yeah, just sort of regular use experiences. I've not really had much in terms of opiates. I've had codeine, Tramadol, poppy tea, and opium itself. I suppose opium itself. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So I guess I could say it's like the intermediate between codeine and actual opium, if that makes any sense to anyone. I mean, in terms of like strength, I'd say it's stronger than codeine, but not as strong as opium for probably obvious reasons. One thing I notice about it, effect-wise, is like say with codeine, for example, you'll run into the high within about 5 to 10 minutes of ingesting said substance. Whereas with Tramadol, it'll probably take you, an hour and 10 minutes before you start feeling the effects. But with codeine, I noticed that after about 2.5 hours, you start feeling irritable, and about 3.25 hours in, the effects just feel like they're gone, and you get, I don't know, you just seem to get quick withdrawals off codeine. It's not the best opiate. I mean, I didn't find actual opium as bad as codeine, to be honest. But that might be based on personal experience. That might not be a larger phenomenon. Yeah, I found that Tramadol was obviously extremely relaxing, like all the opiates. I had a feeling of like, same with codeine, being kind of blanketed, but more than the physical, I felt mental euphoria more than I did with codeine. I felt a sense of relaxation, but also kind of a sense of a little bit something upbeat with Tramadol. Like, instead of just the sort of sedation I got from codeine, where I'm just like, oh yeah, man. I'm kind of like that, but also in a silly, upbeat mood at the same time. So I'm like, oh yeah. I don't know if that makes any sense, but yeah, rather than being completely monged with Tramadol, like I feel the stupor from it, and I feel sort of, I don't know, the physical motor movements fucking up a bit, and I feel the physical relaxation, the carpet effect. I also feel kind of up, kind of awake from it, like, yeah, this is pretty positive shit. Whereas with codeine, it's just complete knockout. I found it really potentiated the effects of marijuana. I find that the relaxing, sedating effects of weed and Tramadol just really fucking suit each other. I prefer the feeling of Tramadol to the feeling of codeine, just because it's slightly less body high, but a lot more sort of head high. I like that kind of aspect of it. It seems to be a lot more mentally relaxing than just physically relaxing. But it's I don't know, it just feels smoother in all aspects than actual codeine. Another good thing about it is, yeah, because it takes an hour and 15, it seems to last about 4 hours of a fairly euphoric high, I should say. Then it starts teetering off. About 7 hours it feels like it's gone, and I'd say about 8 hours it's completely away from you, maybe a bit longer. This is on lower doses. On higher doses it's more like 12, 13 hours, but that's the difference between dosage. I dare say higher than that dose would probably kill you or leave you comatose. So yeah, I found Tramadol to be quite good. I found it didn't have the same sort of tolerance dependency that codeine, I believe, would have. I did feel a little bit weird from withdrawals, but it was not as bad as codeine crashes. Like, codeine crashes, I just felt like, and sad for a few hours and shitty. Although that being said, I haven't had tramadol over many periods, many days at a time. I've only had tramadol and then waited a while and had it on different occasions, so it may not be fair to comment on that. I just feel as though tramadol wasn't as addictive, and I feel as though tramadol doesn't have as bad a come down as such, but yeah, I could be wrong there. So yeah, lower effects, slight body relaxation, mental relaxation, very slight mental euphoria, and yeah, long duration of effect. But then with higher doses, I ran into some worrying effects that weren't so worrying at the time, but were worrying on reflection of them. Started to feel numbness of the extremities whilst on the chemical. It was very pleasant feeling at the time, but I'm not sure if it was actually good for me in terms of physical health as such. Extreme stupor, extreme lack of comprehension of, well, not comprehension, more understanding of why to do things rather than comprehension of how. I found it difficult to have the motivation to do anything, and it didn't bother me as such. It was just, it's not very good functionally. There's no way I would drive on a large dose of tramadol, just no. Fine motor skills, definitely kaput. You can tell why you're on the stuff. You kind of laugh at yourself. Very much complete physical sedation, extremely relaxing feeling of like pleasant sensations sort of coming through your body, a feeling like you're kind of hugged by something nice, just that nice warm feeling you get from being hugged, like really pulsating through your body, and it's like everything you touch, everything you do is just nice. Just that's it, yeah, it's just nice. It's a loving, comforting feeling on a much heavier dose, but it's like physically it's such a nice feeling that you could probably get hit in the face and just be like, that was so nice. Like you're not really aware of pain or worries as such. I guess it is a painkiller, so that makes sense. But it gets rid of a lot of the anxiety and hang-ups that you have in life as well at much higher doses. It does somewhat at lower doses, probably more so than codeine, as I said. But yeah, it has some worrying effects. When I was on a much higher dose, I was just so sedated I fell asleep for about half an hour. Woke up luckily because of an alarm. I think honestly without that alarm, and if it hadn't protruded for so long, I'd have probably slept for like 4 or 5 hours, woken up still fucked, and then a few hours later it would have tapered off, I reckon. So yeah, I'm glad for the alarm, but yeah, it can make you extremely drowsy, and yeah, weird physical numbness that, like I said, felt good, but I'm not sure if it is good. And also, sort of the next day, holding my shit back was pretty hard. I mean, my literal fecal matter just kind of eroded through my anus. It, like, just came out as a river of shit, basically. So yeah, it's can't shit on it, but the next day you'll throw your entire guts out into whatever water system you use to poo in. So just be cautious of that. It is just like taking a shit ton of laxatives when the effects wear off properly. So yeah, you may poo yourself if you don't know what you're doing. But yeah, I don't think it's something I'd use too much recreationally. I might do once or twice a year just as a, oh, this is so relaxing, just as a relaxing thing. Probably in the heavier doses, to be honest, rather than the lower doses. Although maybe once a year lower dose and once a year higher dose I could probably get down with. I feel like if I had a medical problem that was a physical pain problem or an anxiety problem, tramadol would be an excellent temporary solution, possibly a good permanent solution, because it seems that, yeah, there's not really much tolerance in between. Like I've had it spaced out over a couple of days and then a couple of days later rather than the next day. But it might just be that tolerance builds up and goes away really quickly. Couldn't really comment on that. But yeah, I'd definitely recommend it for chronic pain if I was having chronic pain. I can't recommend it to you, but to myself I can. And I could see how it'd be helpful to anxiety in a similar way that benzos are. But it's like, I don't know, it's kind of like taking a benzo and having not the physical sedation effect that you have from benzos, but having sort of the anxiety sedating effect you get from some benzos, along with like a different physically nice effect, rather than the physical damper that makes you feel like well, your muscles are relaxed, more like, rather than physically damping, kind of just getting rid of bad sensations and replacing them with a feeling of the bad sensation being a cuddle rather than a punch or pain. Anyway, that's pretty much all I've got to say about that. That was my experience report on Tramadol, and hope you enjoyed it, and goodbye.